Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rikak Radash, and double honors to the apostles and elders and elder bishops of great millstone, which rule well and teach well, and to the offering put you in 100% truth and sincerity, while risking their life and freedom to do so. Four corners of the earth, and salutation to the hopeful elect. But the lesson I'm going into is I am black, but I look white. So white people feel safe telling me horrible things. Woman reveals a hitting face of racism and personal count. But there's no such thing as black, and there's no such thing as white. It's edifying to someone to watch the lesson that you if you so-called black, which you could be a Native American, but one thing you are is a Hebrew Israelite, and a white person is an Edomite. That's right on the money at the beginning. That's the bottom line right there. They're Edomites, and we are Hebrew Israelites, and they're Hebrew Edomites, and we Hebrew Israelites. But right here it says the powerful revelations from housing advocate and community leader Marian Zenter captures the complex realities of race and identity in America. After she described how appearing white has given her an unsettling view into private expressions of racism. Her observation cuts to the center of a broader conversation about racial perception, privilege, and the hidden ways prejudice continues to shape everyday interactions. And the topic right here says, and a neighbor's comment reopened old wounds. And see, yeah, she could go, high yellow, but you can still see that she's a Jake, for sure. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. And it says in the resurfaced article, Zenter recount an encounter that began as an ordinary afternoon outside her house and abruptly turned into something far more disturbing. While gardening and petting a neighbor's dog, she said the man asked why she had a Black Lives Matter sign in her yard, then allegedly marked that all those people do is kill each other. In that moment, stunned her. What followed was a conversation that moved beyond a single offensive remark and into a generation of family history, stories of housing, discrimination, racial exclusion, and barriers imposed on Black Americans. Zenter explained that both of her parents are Black, that each has white ancestries, recessive genes, traits left her with blonde hair, blue eyes, and features many perceived as white. But while strangers often make assumptions about her appearance, identity has never been in question. And that's her parents right there. You know what I'm saying? Definitely Hebrew Israelites. Beautiful picture back in the day. Beautiful picture. They definitely get their beauty back in the kingdom and everything. But right here, Zenter accounts traces of a painful family legacy shaped by racial discrimination. She described how her father struggled to access educational opportunity because Black applicants faced a barrier in higher education during the 1950s and 60s. Even after military services, she said he encountered resistance in attempts to use GI Bill's benefits and purchase homes. And that's all part of the curses, you know. It fit them just like a glove. You know what I'm saying? That show you right there. You know, when you go in and Deuteronomy, you could just see how, you know, Deuteronomy just fit the Hebrew Israelites like a glove. And it says her parents eventually built a house in suburban New York after being unable to purchase homes with these restrictions, including black buyers. Soon after moving into, someone painted a racial slur on their home. Yeah, you know those devils, they do that, man. They hate to see, you know, you have anything. And it says the experience shaped her understanding of race from childhood and led her towards a career focus on housing and social justice work. And it says right here, white people think I am white too. And it says perhaps the most striking proportion of Zenter's accounts involved that she was Zenter's account involved what she says people have revealed in her presence because they believe she shared their racial assumptions. But see, a lot of these Edomites don't have any idea that, Israelites come in all different shades of colors. You know what I'm saying? Some of them do actually look like the heathens, but they're Israelites though. But see, they don't know all this, man. They all in the trick bag, which they just only go by looks, and you know what I'm saying? And that's what's wrong with our people. They go by looks too, because someone could look like a white person or an Edomite, but they could be an Israelite. But you have to test the spirit. Bottom line, test the spirit. See, how they talk, how they move, and like I say, conversations. You could tell, a lot by talking to somebody to test their spirit. And it says she wrote that individuals, including professionals holding positions of authority, have openly made comments describing black people as animals, thugs, and expressing discounts towards interracial relationships. Many, she noted, were educated professionals. For Zenter, the issue extended beyond isolated incidents. She argued such an account revealed deeper structure of racial thinking that continue operating beneath the surface of public life. It says right here, experience of privilege and contradiction. And that's her and her sister on the swing. It says, Zenter said, existing the intersection of black identity and white appearance has given her a unique perspective on racial dynamics. Because people perceive her as white, she says she has experienced privileges often denied to visibly black Americans of such credibility, safety, and belonging. She said that reality forces her to confront an unsettling question repeatedly. Zenter concludes by arguing that meaningful progress requires an honest explanation of America, a racial history, rather than avoiding uncomfortable conversations. She warned that separation and misunderstanding create distrust, while sharing experience create connections. Her history arrives amid continuing national debates surrounding race, educational, and historical memory serving as a reminder that some of the most difficult conversation about racism happen not in public forums, but in seemingly ordinary moments between neighbors. And yep, you know, and like I say, when you look like she do, she can blend in, with them devils. You know what I'm saying? But I could look at her and tell, that she's possibly an Israelite, but you can have some tails that look like that too, though. But hey, she let us see a picture of her father. Her father is the only one matters, because that's where she get her, what she is who her father is, the pedigree of her father. That's who she is. So let's hit some scriptures on this. Look, hey, we can start right here. Luke 12:2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. That's Lord Yahushua talking here, and everything covered is coming out in 2026. A lot of this stuff been hid, but now people are coming out talking and saying stuff, and they don't care. They just saying anything. But see, she was an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? She probably don't even know she a Hebrew Israelite. She just say black, 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 and you're not black. You're a Hebrew Israelite. You royalty. But see, you around them devils, see, they feel comfortable around you because they thinking that you're an Edomite too. But they showing their true things. How they truly feel about, so-called black people. And Ephesians 5:15, this is something that she got to be careful with right here. Because if she let them know who she are, then she put a target on her back. I'm thinking that she probably married an Edomite man. That's what I'm thinking. If she around them, most likely, she married, a Edomite. She got an Edomite husband. I'm assuming. She didn't show us a picture of her husband, but she didn't really say. But I'm thinking that she probably did, marry an Edomite, for a husband. But it say right here, Ephesians 5:15, say, see that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Yeah. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. And see, she got to know the times that she in right now are evil. She got to be, paraphrasing, wise as a serpent, soft as dove. She just got to fly under the radar, But she just not really knowing just how dangerous the times are that we are in right now. You know what I'm saying? So, with them knowing that she, so-called black, she definitely put a bullseye on her back for sure. You know what I'm saying? But, that's how you have to move around here in Babylon the Great, man. You be careful with small talk. But like I say, you got to know who your enemies are, for sure. Let's see. We got to always go to this, Ecclesiastes 12:10, never trust thy enemies, for like an iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou have wiping a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rush has been although wiped away. And that's what's dealing with these Edomites, man. They made this way from our Heavenly Father. to be crooked and never be straight, man. You know, but like I say, you move around in this world we in. You have to navigate yourself, man. You got to be smart. You know, not as fools. You know what I'm saying? Knowing the dangerous times that we're in. You know, you got to be very, very, very careful. Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and thou hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the fourth for sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. And they always going to have that perpetual hatred, you know. You know, small talk. That's what they do all the time. And, you know, them heathens amongst themselves. You know, the Edomites, the other heathens, they all congregate together and have perpetual hatred for you tribes, man. And that's just something that's in them. You know what I'm saying? But that Sleazy, man, he go all out, man. You seen the stuff that they've done. You know, they got to pay for all that, though. You know, they got a lot to pay for. A lot to pay for. Because they done the most. And went totally overboard. You know, with the atrocities that they've done to the apple of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's. They went overboard. So they got a lot that they got to go through. You know, a lot of judgment that has reached the heavens. And that's why, you know, I'm just going to end it on this. I'm not going to keep you long. But, you know, like I say, this is why Isaiah 33:6 is so important. Isaiah 30. Let me go back to it right quick. Bear with me for a second. And this is why this scripture right here is so important. Isaiah 33:6. And the wisdom knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of thy salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And that's what's going to, keep us, where we need to be, man, out here in Babylon the Great, man. You know, first of all, we got to fear Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And a lot of our people don't. So, like I say, these scriptures are here to help us navigate, giving us the true name, the strong tower, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and having us going, that straight gate, not the wide gate. Because you're going to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of these scriptures once the famine of the word has been totally implemented. Coming soon. Coming very soon, to you 2/3. But I hope this is edifying to the whole sheep and lamb. Kwam Yasharala call all y'all by Shem Yahweh Shai on to the next lesson. Shalom.